So today we are going to talk all about fruit vinegars while I show you some delicious homemade fruit vinegars that I've been working on. Fruit vinegars are really simple and easy to make as they're just fruit, water, and sugar, believe it or not, to help the fermentation process happen. The most common fruit vinegar is apple cider vinegar, of course, which most people use as part of an everyday health regimen. Many people report all kinds of health benefits from this drink, including weight loss, blood sugar lowering, and antimicrobial benefits. Fruit vinegars are highly acidic and popularly consumed raw or in salad dressings and marinades. They are so easy and fun to make that once you get the hang of it, it just becomes a part of your regular cooking routine. While apple cider vinegar may be the most well-known type, fruit vinegars can be made from just about anything, from mangoes, plums, berries, papaya, grapes, peaches, citrus fruits, and anything else that you can ferment. Depending on what I plan to use it for, sometimes I'll even throw in some spices and herbs to help infuse my beverage. The ripe whole fruit, or scraps of fruit like the peel, core, and pits with attached fruit flesh, can be used. You can even use slightly over-ripened fruit that isn't moldy. Because of this, you'll find yourself becoming quite addicted to making things like apple cider vinegar, especially if you peel apples. All you need to do is take your peeled apples and cores and throw them into a mix with some sugar and water and let the fermentation happen. The majority of the fruit vinegars that I personally make are very strong on the apple or entirely apple altogether. And the reason for this is because I just personally use so many apples. But when you really look at the health benefits from fruit vinegars, such as apple cider vinegar, it's really attributed to the acetic acid content. And acetic acid is naturally found in some foods. But most vinegars contain 4 to 8% acetic acid, and these fruit vinegars containing it also contain health-promoting polyphenol compounds, antioxidants, and other organic acids. So when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of looking at the health benefits of fruit vinegars, while most studies apply to apple cider vinegar, these findings may apply to other fruit vinegars as well, which include improving blood sugar, helping to lower cholesterol, as well as helping to reduce your appetite. But as always, with the good health benefits, you should be aware of any potential downsides as well. And now, while long-term human research is lacking on the health effects of fruit vinegars, there is one study that suggests that many of the purported health effects of apple cider vinegar are undervalidated and that it may have toxic effects. Most of the studies that reported anything negative around the use of fruit vinegars were focused on the effects of the vinegar and tooth enamel. I think at the end of the day, one of the things that you just need to keep in mind is that whatever you're doing, you do in moderation and don't overdo it. Because when you overdo something, of course, adding too much acid into your mouth is going to help strip tooth enamel. And truthfully, when you take a deeper look at the studies, current and older research demonstrate a higher prevalence of enamel erosion among vegetarians and others who regularly consume vinegar-based foods like salad dressing. So I think at the end of the day, no matter what you are doing, you just need to pay attention to how your body responds and reacts to it and how you really truly feel about it. It's more important to live your life as an educated and happy human being with the decisions that you are making instead of living in fear of something going wrong, because for all intents and purposes, you could be buying vinegar-based dressings in the grocery store that do the same thing as the homemade products that you consume. And when it comes down to fruit vinegars, the harm really comes from using high amounts of it, so remember to keep moderation in mind. Now, when you purchase raw fruit vinegars from the store with the mother, the vinegar still contains fermenting yeasts and bacteria cultures, which would be the same ones that you would get in your own mixtures if you're making them at home. You can make them with 100% fruit juice or fruit and unchlorinated water. In both instances, the extracted fruit juice undergoes fermentation and alcohol phases to form the final fruit vinegar product. I personally prefer and only use the water and fruit method because I feel like it is as close to natural as you can truly get, whereas with some fruit juices, you can never really be too sure. In order to make your own, you'll just need some fruit that you'll be soaking in an airtight transparent container like a mason jar with unchlorinated water for 1 to 2 weeks. The water gradually absorbs some nutrients and flavor from the fruit and begins the fermentation process. I usually add about a cup of sugar to my fruit vinegar mixes, so that way it helps to speed up the fermentation process while for no other way to put it, decomposing fruit eats the sugar and turns into this acidic alcohol phase to form the final vinegar product. Now, the next phase of making your fruit vinegars is going to take a little bit longer than 1 to 2 weeks and does require you to strain your infusions into a food-grade container like a mason jar. You'll simply need to cover the canning glass with a breathable cloth to facilitate a natural fermentation process. You can also check on Walmart and Amazon for mason jar lids that allow for fermentation. I believe that they may call them kombucha lids as well, but those are very helpful to avoid fermenting the juice with a seal, as the gas buildup may cause the glass to break. Fruit yeasts will feed on the natural sugars and the added sugars that you've put into your mixture to produce alcohol and carbon dioxide gas as byproducts. This activity depends on the temperature and grows well at warmer temperatures of 54 degrees to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so you're going to want to keep your juice in this temperature range for 1 to 3 months. Once that time has passed, you can get down to the fun part of your fruit vinegar making process and test the vinegar to make sure it's ready by pouring some into a jar. Then seal the jar and leave it overnight. If it pops when you open it the next day, the yeast is still fermenting and you'll want to retest it again in 1 week. If it doesn't pop, the vinegar is ready, and you can skim the top of the vinegar if bubbles form, and then store at room temperature out of direct sunlight or refrigerate for 6 to 12 months. You may need to discard the vinegar if mold is formed, but don't be discouraged. You will eventually nail down this process. When it comes to fermenting goods, you're better to be safe than sorry, as this can go very wrong very quickly. And if you ever find yourself not sure about your fruit vinegars and whether or not they're food grade quality, or if you just don't feel safe ingesting them, you can always use them as a household cleaner, so you don't need to waste the entire batch that you just made. There are so many different ways that people like to enjoy fruit vinegars: raw, diluted, as salad dressings, marinades, switchels, you name it. The most common way that people enjoy using it is raw, where they drink a half to 1 tablespoon of fruit vinegar with a carb-rich meal to help improve their blood sugar levels. Many people also find it enjoyable to mix 1 tablespoon of fruit vinegar with 2 to 3 tablespoons of water to dilute it and make the drink a little more palpable. You can also top any salad with 1 to 2 tablespoons of a homemade balsamic vinaigrette made from fruit vinegar, but that recipe comes separately. If you're someone who enjoys eating meat or fish dishes, you can also use your fruit vinegars to marinate your meals. Now, while I personally have never tried a switchel, this is a unique beverage made from fruit vinegar, ginger juice, water, and maple syrup. If you do try it, let me know what you think in the comments below. No matter how you choose to enjoy fruit vinegars, just remember to use them in moderation and practice good dental hygiene to avoid any potential erosion of the tooth enamel. Now, while making fruit vinegars may not necessarily be for you, you can always purchase ready-made fruit vinegars and get the same effects for your at-home use. I personally think that they are really pretty to look at in the bottles, and I enjoy making them as it helps to reduce food waste, as the scraps don't end up in the garbage but instead get repurposed for something that I can use for health benefits, making more food, or for cleaning my home. Does this sound like something you think you might want to try? Let me know in the comments below if you have done this process of making fruit vinegars for yourself, or if it's something that you think you might want to do. I'd love to hear from you and appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Thanks for subscribing to our channel, and stay tuned for more videos like this.